You've gotten better at the dodging, so Monkey will be joining us for the next few days. See if you can dodge from multiple angles at once.
Good luck, Tailor. I love dodgeball.
Alright, hold your wings like this. Stiff, but not too stiff. Now, leap forward off the branch and glide.
Like this?
No, they're angled far too forward. Tailor, wait!
Tailor crashed into a tree.
We're supposed to practice crashing again. Tomorrow. Sorry. Okay, Tailor, you trust me?
If I didn't trust you, Crane, I wouldn't have let you drag me to who knows where while blindfolded.
Okay. Keep your feet planted, okay?
She felt Crane grab the back of her shirt collar and slowly lean her forward. Her claws gripped the ground tightly to keep from falling.
Crane? Where are we?
You're perfectly safe, Tailor, I promise.
The strong breeze ruffled her feathers. It echoed quite far.
Crane, when I open my eyes, am I going to be leaning over a cliff?
No?
Tailor untied the blindfold with her wings. Her heart dropped into her stomach at the sheer drop she was hanging over. A small break in the clouds surrounding the mountain revealed the valley far, far below.
Oh, that's really very high. Why is Tigress here? She's not going to be throwing balls at me, is she?
No. Owls traditionally are hunters focused on stealth. So are tigers. Tigress is going to hunt you down. Your job is to avoid her. Get to work.
Tigress was already gone.
I'll admit I'm impressed, Tailor. You managed to hear Tigress coming 3 times out of 5 already.
He gestured to where Viper was standing cheerfully.
So now, we're going to switch roles. I want you to take what you've learned, this time as the hunter, and tag Viper.
Did expect me to take it easy on it, hey? I'm sneakier than I look.
30 seconds. Find your position.
Viper closed her eyes as Tailor jumped into the trees. She still wasn't flying yet, but she'd really gotten the hang of jumping from perch to perch. She nestled herself deep in the shadows.
And begin!
Tailor waited a moment. Viper opened her eyes and looked around. When Tailor wasn't immediately visible, she slithered in a wide circle. Tailor waited until Viper was facing away before moving, freezing whenever she could see the snake's face. She knew she was probably being overly cautious, but she just knew there was a trick to this test. When Viper passed beneath her hiding spot, Tailor struck. Viper coiled around the strike and booped Tailor's beak.
Nice right, Tay. You rested the list on the way down.
30 seconds until the next attempt, Tailor. Get hiding.
Wait, you said the rose is set to wilt on his 21st birthday, and the curse was laid 10 years ago.
That's right.
So he was 11? He was 11 when a strange woman came to his door and asked to be let in? And he was cursed for doing what any young child with sense would do?
Well, yeah, but that's just like a minor detail the writers probably didn't consider. It's a great story everywhere else.
I suppose.
I loved that movie when I was little. I'd watch it over and over. I'd play dress up with
Tailor?
So anyway, back in town, Gaston is moping about Belle. Crane, you're taking me up to the very high place again.
Why, yes I am, Tailor. Well noticed.
Why is Tigress with us?
The tiger followed a few paces behind them.
I'd like to know that as well, Crane.
You have better eyes than me, Tigress.
When they reached the top of the cliff, Crane turned and regarded her gravely.
All right, Tailor. Show me you know how to land.
Tailor narrowed her eyes at him, but turned and jumped into a glide for a few feet before landing near perfectly.
Good. And you can clearly glide as well. Show me a controlled crash.
She jumped into a glide again, this time deliberately landing on her shoulder, rolling over it into a standing position, back where she started. Tigress's eyes widened and she gave Crane a look, which he ignored.
Excellent. One more thing. Flap your wings once.
Tailor did, hopping a few feet and gently floating to the ground.
Nice. Okay. Tailor?
He beamed at her and placed one talon on her shoulder companionably.
Have a nice trip.
Taylor's eyes widened as she suddenly realized Tigress stepped forward.
Crane!
He tightened his grip and threw the owl off the mountain. He leaned over the edge and called out.
See you next fall!
Taylor's screams faded away. Tigress grabbed Crane and shook him.
Crane, have you lost your mind? What the hell?
She's ready.
He calmly turned away from the edge and stalked away.
How about you in case I'm wrong? You can keep an eye on her, and if she doesn't recover, I'll save her. But she will.
Tigress stared at him. Then she hurried to the edge, eyes rapt. There were clouds everywhere below them.
Crane, I can't see her.
Crane's eyes popped open. Taylor stopped screaming pretty quickly. Well, not quickly, but she had a long time to fall and realize what was happening. She tried to spread her wings and glide, but the air flying past her made it hard to keep them straight. The white clouds surrounding her didn't help, making it hard to tell which way was up. She struggled to right herself for what felt like several minutes, when suddenly she fell through the bottom of the cloud, and she was distracted by the sprawling valley below. Then, awestruck by the view, with the wind whipping past her head, hurtling down thousands of feet in the air, something clicked.
It was supposed to be clear today. I checked up here this morning and everything.
This morning is not now, Crane. I can't believe you just did this.
Oh no, oh no, oh no.
You didn't even look before you threw her over, you incompetent, moronic little... Ugh!
Tigress was this close to grabbing his scrawny neck and wringing it like a wet towel when her ear twitched. She clamped the babbling bird's beak shut.
Wait. Listen.
They became aware of a distant sound, almost like laughter. And then Taylor rose over the edge and kept going up. Tigress breathed again, nearly collapsing in relief. Crane actually did collapse, falling flat on his back and laughing hysterically. They watched her circle the mountain, giggling uncontrollably, and after getting himself under control, Crane flew up after to join her. Tigress watched them fly together, a soft smile tugging at her lips. Then she turned to walk the path down the mountain. Let them have their moment. When that group of colorful characters had entered his shop, Mr. Ping's first thought was, "Ooh, new customers." Following that immediately, as he took in the customers, he wondered, do we have enough room for them all? It had been a slow day today though, so if they pushed a pair of tables together, they could probably fit more comfortably. His third thought was, wait, they look familiar. Do they owe me money? This thought was dismissed, as Ping for the life of him could not recall having ever met or served a tiger or mantis before, and in any case, most of them looked just a bit too young to be any former business associates of his. The follow-up, do I owe them money, was discarded even faster, and as he couldn't think of any other reason why he might recognize these people, he abandoned the entire train of thought to focus on the important thing. Making money. He made to call Po to go arrange the tables for them, but stopped when he took in Po's expression. The boy was hyperventilating for some reason, and hiding behind the wall. He peeked over the counter at the customers and produced a bizarre squeaking noise.
Po. Po.
Po didn't seem to hear him, so Ping stretched up to snap his fingers in front of the boy's eyes, which at least seemed to cause a reaction, albeit not the one he wanted. Instead, Po sank to the floor and started muttering. Ping could just barely make out bits of it.
The Furious Five. Here? All of them? Tigress, Monkey, Crane, all at once? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh!
Ah, that's why they look familiar to him. Wait. Ping craned his to look at them.
Are you sure that the Furious Five? There's 6 of them, and I think I know what Master Shifu looks like.
Po looked over to the counter.
Oh, the owl girl is here too. Tay something. I couldn't read her signature.
You got her. Is she famous too?
Well, you know, not yet. She only started the Jade Palace like last month.
Mr. Ping hummed at that, when suddenly his own words caught up to him. Famous. He started hopping in excitement.
The famous Furious Five are in my noodle shop. Oh, Po, if they like my soup. Oh, just think of the advertising. We could put a big sign up front saying, Jade Palace approved. And maybe they'll even want catering.
We don't offer catering.
To the J Palace we do, Po.
He grabbed the panda and pulled him to his feet, then began pushing him out the door.
Take the orders. Go on, go on. I have to get out the good bowls.
Wait, Dad, no, it's the 5. I can't.
Sure you can. And remember, smile.
Ping closed the door behind Po and got to work. As he went into the house proper to fetch the bowls, he heard Po at work.
Hello, and welcome to Golden Harvest Noodles.
Oh, hi, Bo. Nice to see you again.
Oh my gosh, Master Viper, remember my name?
Is he okay? He's squealing.
Mr. Ping paused, then shook his head fondly. Po would be fine. Oogway loved stories. He had not lied to Tailor. His favorite part of his travels had been hearing new ones and making new stories. He knew that there were many villages in China that still told stories of the day Grand Master Oogway had come to their town and saved them. Sometimes from bandits or warlords, but sometimes from a corrupt leader, or perhaps his wisdom had served to aid them in a time of peril. His favorites were the ones where a well-placed word on his part inspired a local to rise up and become the true hero of the story. Oogway, after all, was a teacher at heart. Tailor continued to show great reluctance in opening up to him. He had encouraged her to tell him stories from her homeland so he could add them to his own collection. He had done this to help her become more comfortable speaking to him in general, though he had been genuinely curious what she might tell him about, and he had found himself drawn into the discussions more than he'd actually expected. Tailor was a decent storyteller, and when she was enthusiastic about something, it could get infectious. But as fun as their story time had been, its true purpose had yet to bear fruit. Oogway was not above using sneaky tactics to help someone, after all. Stories taught lessons, and they shaped the way people viewed the world. Parents told their children stories to help them sleep and to teach them lessons. He had hoped that by having Tailor tell him stories, the memories around those stories would spill out as well. It was apparently an even better idea than he expected. Nearly everyone in our world had a sort of miniature theater in their homes, and it was common to bond with others watching them together. It had almost worked too. He had learned, listening to what she hadn't said, that her parents had been kind and loving, with each other and with her. He suspected that one or both of them had passed when she was young, and that something had happened to taint the happy memories. He had learned that Tailor had once had a very close friend, but that something had made it painful even to think of them, and he had already known that someone had tried to break her, in body and spirit, from what he sensed when he brought her here. Yet, while he felt he had most of the big picture, the details were still missing. Anytime Tailor came close to the painful memories, she shoved them away. In most cases, he wasn't certain she was even aware she'd done so. Whatever had happened, she had been hurt for so long that ignoring the pain had become almost instinct. She was happier now, but the pain was still buried deep down. Crane and Shifu's training had made her stronger and swifter, more sure and secure. She was changing, slowly, becoming more confident, though he was certain she hadn't fully noticed. Crane and Viper had both noticed her insecurities, and in their own ways had tried to help reassure her, and it had worked, to a point. It had almost seemed she was afraid to feel happy. The look on her face when she came in from her first fight had been the most genuine, joyful expression he'd seen from her. Oogway smiled to himself. Viper had convinced the 5 to treat Tailor to a day in the village to celebrate her being fully recovered from her injuries. The smile faded. She had only just started the path to recovery. Perhaps he should try something more direct. Oogway unfolded himself from his meditation position in the Hall of Warriors. He would help Tailor face her past, and maybe the story could have a happy ending.